By the way, this time we're in good shape with stats in case this game runs into like the other one.
Hello and welcome. If you're just joining us, we're at J. Doyle Field where this afternoon the East Brunswick High School Bears take on the J.P. Stevens Hawks for the Central Jersey Group 4 State Championship. I'm John Meggiolaro. I'll be bringing you the play-by-play. And joining me in the booth once again is Sentinel sports writer Jimmy Allinder. Jimmy, beautiful day for a game.
Really gorgeous, John. You wouldn't think it'd be a December 1st, huh?
Yeah, this is ideal weather, ideal football weather anyway. A nice crowd coming in. In fact, I see that at the ticket booth they're lined up almost out to the school building.
They really are. It's I don't know if there's any attendance figures on this game at this point, but I would suggest that they're probably going to fill the stadium today for this one.
Well, if they don't fill it for this one, they'll never fill it, right?
That's true.
Let me put this game, Jimmy, in proper perspective for our audience. East Brunswick comes into the game having completed its first undefeated season ever in its history. They won the Middlesex County Conference by beating Colonia 33-27 on Thanksgiving Day. They're ranked second by the Star Ledger, first by the New Brunswick Home News, and first by the New York Daily News. East Brunswick advanced to the finals by beating Hunterdon Central 34-12. East Brunswick, needless to say, has never reached this stage in its football history. As for Stevens, they come in tied for second place with Edison in the Middlesex County Conference with a 6-2 record, having lost to Edison on Thanksgiving Day 28-6. And if you don't follow East Brunswick football, let me just remind you that Stevens lost to East Brunswick during the regular season 26-6. So there's a lot at stake here for both teams.
John, Stevens, as far as playoff experience is concerned, really has the edge. They have been in the Central Jersey Group 4 playoffs 6 of the last 8 years. A lot of these players have a lot of experience, and you would think that might be an edge, but I have to think that we can throw that sort of past record out. And, I believe that East Brunswick has to be the favorite coming into this game.
I would think so, but obviously the point you made about experience may pay off if this is a tight ball game.
You think so, John?
Well, I don't think it's going to be a tight ball game.
You don't? That's good. This is what really makes high school football exciting.
Okay, Jim, as we look, we see the East Brunswick Bears coming on the field. They should receive a nice ovation here from the whole fans. This is what it's all about, Jimmy. This is what you start off in August and hope to achieve.
Yeah, John, I think a lot of things are going through the minds of the players right now. You know, there's 24 seniors on the East Brunswick team. Going to be the last game for them. And a lot of record breakers. Steve Hughes, the quarterback, we're going to talk a lot about him this afternoon. I think it's got to be an emotional experience for him at this point.
I agree.
You know, earlier, John, we talked about George Booth being a factor in the game. George Booth is one of the better running backs in Central Jersey, and East Brunswick did not face him the last time they played them, which was the 26-6 game. And he puts a dimension into J.P. Stevens' offense that they just wouldn't have, and indeed he probably was the factor in getting them to this final today. They beat Middletown North 10-0, as you said before. So I think it's going to be East Brunswick's job to shut him down.
Well, it is a concern not having face Booth, and I want to pick up on that. But I do want to mention at this point, Jimmy, I know he's a friend of yours, to take a minute and wish George Pinfield a speedy recovery from his recent surgery. It's hard not to think of George when we watch or discuss East Brunswick football, and we wish him well and look forward to seeing him back in the booth next season.
You're right.
And I know George is with us in spirit anyway this afternoon. Here you see Steve Hughes, and obviously he's going to be a factor in today's ball game.
John, I told you I talked to Steve before the game, and as I said, he thinks that he's going to have pressure put on him by the Stevens defense. Stevens is one of the few teams in the conference, or that East Brunswick has faced this year, that probably is going to match them physically on the line.
Yeah.
I thought Colonia did an excellent job in penetrating last week, but that is going to be Stevens' job to get to use. If he can make the adjustment, I think East Brunswick is going to do well. Certainly they're going to want to start quick today.
I agree.
Score quickly and not allow what happened in Colonia happen again today.
No, I think if nothing else, Marcus Borden, the head coach, has made it known that the Colonia game was a down game, and they do not want to start off like that again. Obviously, in a game of this magnitude, you don't want to get in the hole early.
No, you don't, John. I think East Brunswick has a lot of pressure on them. I don't think Stevens has as much. A lot of the state media is looking on them today simply because they are ranked as high as they are. As a matter of fact, I think today a convincing enough win will support the contention, not just my own, that this might be the best team in New Jersey.
I agree. I would agree, and I think there are several sports writers who would agree. And now we see J.P. Stevens coming onto the field, and 6-2, second in the Middlesex County Conference. They were touted early in the season as the team to beat, and it still may be that way in terms of this game.
With the business of the 24 seniors playing today, I think that's the reason why Borden feels that East Brunswick will not have any sort of emotional letdown after that win against Colonia on Thanksgiving. He said that as of December 12th last year, they dedicated their season to getting to where they are now, and now that they are on the brink of an undefeated season, I don't think there's going to be any chance of a letdown.
All right, the teams are getting ready for the coin toss at the center of the field. East Brunswick will be in the green or dark jerseys, and J.P. Stevens will be in the white jerseys.
John, if we get a chance, we're going to talk a lot about records being broken this year. It might take the whole game. There certainly have been a lot established individual records on the part of Hughes, Barry Flanagan, the premier quarterback, who, by the way, is a junior and is going to be back next year. He already holds a lot of the pass receiving records for East Brunswick. Team scoring records. This is the highest offensive output ever in the history of East Brunswick. And they have done a marvelous job.
Jimmy, maybe you could fill us in on the status of such players as Glenn Pazinko and Bob Rushnack.
Well, Bob Rushnack, although he is dressed and will be playing, has to be considered a question mark. I'm not sure he's going to be able to go a full tilt. He suffered a hamstring injury in the Colonia game, and actually it's been an injury which has been bothering him all season long, but it sort of came to a head on the Colonia contest. He is a very important factor in the game. Pazinko, I believe, is going to be is going 100%.
Okay, Jim. You see out in the center of the field, Steve Hughes and Glenn Pazinko. They are the captains of the East Brunswick team, and they are talking with the head referee at this moment. A good crowd, boisterous crowd. Stevens has won the toss and has they've declined the choice of the ball. And so East Brunswick will receive. They will move from right to left on your screen, with Stevens kicking off from the left part of your screen.
John, I think that falls in line with Stevens' strategy. Aside from being able to have the win advantage, I think what they want to do is get on defense quick and show that they can stop East Brunswick offensively, and that will give them an emotional edge as they get the ball.
Well, the wind is a factor this afternoon. We talked about it during the pregame show. To the extent that it'll affect Hughes, only time will tell.
We're going to try to point out some of the J.P. Stevens offensive players as we go as we go along. You know, we haven't mentioned anything about Robert Thomas, the quarterback for J.P. Stevens. He is a junior, as is George Booth, by the way, so you figure that Stevens is going to have an excellent team next year. But Robert Thomas is a very mobile, good-throwing quarterback. And again, East Brunswick will have to penetrate as Stevens has to penetrate East Brunswick. It's a good matchup all the way around.
All right, as we line up for the opening kickoff, East Brunswick has Derek Rowe back deep, along with Andy Wernberg and Mike Bostowski. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is for the Central Jersey Group 4 State Championship. The first time ever East Brunswick has been in such a contest. Good crowd on hand, and an excited crowd as everyone stands up to root on East Brunswick. We're just a few seconds from kickoff. Kyle Paggage will kick off for Stevens.
He's a good kicker for J.P. Stevens, by the way.
I think East Brunswick would want Derek Rowe to handle this ball.
We'd like to. Let's see if Paggage kicks it out of the end zone. He certainly has that ability.
And this is it. Here we go. Nice kick. Rowe will field it at his 10-yard line. And he goes straight up the middle. Good return. Rowe bringing it up around the 24, where East Brunswick will go on offense for the first time this afternoon. 1st and 10.
John, right away we have some inaccuracies in our program. I see numbers for players that are listed or that are out there that are not listed in our program. We'll see what we can do to identify these kids.
All right, we'll do the best we can. Steve Hughes brings out East Brunswick offense. 1st and 10 on the 27. Hand off to Pazinko.
Very interesting to watch what East Brunswick does in its first offensive series. That was a running play.
Pazinko picks up about 3 yards, Jim.
Yes, he did.
I think East Brunswick wants to establish that offensive line and the fact that they are superior to J.P. Stevens. 2nd and 8 for East Brunswick. Hughes calling signals. Barry Flanagan in motion. Hughes fakes to Rowe, looking deep, looking for Siliberti, but it's over his head, and we have a flag down, the first of the game.
Oh, we got illegal motion.
East Brunswick nor J.P. Stevens can afford many mistakes this afternoon.
No, they can't. If I were Stevens, I refuse this one. We don't want to give East Brunswick any opportunities more than what they have now. We'll have to see.
We'll see what the official call is, but the referee is talking with the J.P. Stevens player. And we have illegal motion against East Brunswick. And it is declined by Stevens. This will bring up a 3rd down and about 8 on East Brunswick's own 29-yard line.
Sean, it rained last night this morning, and I was wondering what type of effect this would have on the playing surface. It appears, though, that the field is drained properly, and probably any wet ground won't be a factor, if there is any.
Okay, 3rd and 8. Steve Hughes calling signals. He rolls right, looking to pass the ball. Sets up a screen to Derek Rowe. Nice defensive play by the J.P. Stevens man. And Rowe is dropped right at the 30-yard line, and it'll bring up a short punting situation.
Right, and more importantly for J.P. Stevens, they have stopped East Brunswick on the first offensive series. Let's see who's going to be punting. It's
Barry Flanagan.
Barry Flanagan. He's punting against the wind. So Stevens could have good offensive position this first series.
High snap. Flanagan gets off a nice kick. Troy Johnson for Stevens lets the ball bounce, and it's touched near the Stevens sideline around the 40-yard line. So J.P. Stevens go on offense for the first time this afternoon.
John, I see Bob Reshnick coming in there in his customary middle linebacker position. We'll keep an eye on him to see how well he plays. He's bothered by that hamstring, and as hamstring goes, it's an injury that takes a long time to clear up, and just a little bit of physical type of activity will aggravate it.
Stevens comes out. They have Robert Thomas at quarterback with Ron Grubbs and George Booth in the backfield. Here's a handoff to Booth. And Booth is hit at the line of scrimmage and rolls forward for a couple yards. Nice defensive play.
That was 44.
44 is Herbst, I believe.
Yes, it is. Came up on the
Tom Herbst,
safety position.
who did an incredible job in that Colonia game.
Didn't he?
He's playing for Pazinko on defense, by the way.
Yes, I noticed that. Herbst had that key interception late in the game, which allowed East Brunswick to have that last-ditch drive.
Okay, Stevens comes up, 2nd down and 9 with the ball on their own 41-yard line. There's no score in this game, and we've just started the first period. Thomas again to Booth, who sweeps wide, looking for some running room, and it's taken down. The ball is loose.
That's after the whistle, John.
But it's ruled dead. Good pursuit by the East Brunswick defensive line.
Excellent. They are primed for this game. Look at Rowe down there. He's
ready.
He's ready, yeah. He had an unfortunate incident against Colonia. As you know, he was thrown out of the game, and I think he really wants to do his best to make up for that.
All right, Stevens is faced with a 3rd down situation, 3rd and about 10, and Thomas goes into a shotgun formation. Booth is a wing right, and we'll see what they can do through the air. Thomas is looking. He's got a man outside near the sideline, and he drops the ball. Booth on a square out, could not handle the pass, and Stevens will have to punt away. So neither team, Jim, able to move the ball their first possession.
That's exactly true, John. Booth was on a quick out pattern that was designed to go 5 yards. Even if he caught that ball, it would not have been enough for a first down. Now let's see what Derek can do with the running room that he might have.
Rowe is back deep for the punt. Eric Fromm waiting to snap. Whoa, kick off the side of his shoe. This is going to give East Brunswick great field position as the ball bounds dead at around the 46-yard line of East Brunswick. Great field position, and there's a mistake by Stevens.
First one of the game.
Let's see if East Brunswick now can turn it around.
I have a feeling, John, that Hughes is probably going to go to the air this time around.
It appears that the wind has not affected his passing thus far, although it's early in the game.
Oh, yeah, such a strong arm. Strong arm. Excellent receivers.
8 minutes and 40 seconds into the game, and there's no score. East Brunswick has the ball on their own 45, 1st and 10. Steve Hughes has Flanagan and Siliberti wide right. Hand off to Rowe. Rowe's looking for some running room, and gains maybe 2 on the play. Good pursuit by the Stevens defense.
Sure, it was George Booth, the running back. You know, with his speed, he is able to get outside with Derek Rowe, something very few players on the opponents can do.
All right, East Brunswick comes out, 2nd and 8 on the 47. Hughes drops straight back. He's looking deep down the field. He's got Siliberti all alone at the 40. Siliberti goes out at about the 37-yard line.
And that's what East Brunswick does best. So many good receivers. You know, when you throw a Barry Flanagan out there, when you throw a Chris Siliberti, an Anthony Pilato, a Bob Rushnick, sooner or later somebody's going to have to get open.
First down for East Brunswick, and the ball is spotted on the 35-yard line. And that's how East Brunswick got here, on the arm of Steve Hughes.
We're going to try to keep some unofficial stats on Hughes today. That's 1 for 2 at this point.
Hughes hands off to Bazinko. Bazinko gets up to about the 30 before he's pushed back by the Stevens defense. That'll bring up a 2nd down and 8 to go.
Stevens
Ball's
looks
marked on the 30-yard line.
John, Stevens looks fairly effective on the inside today. As I said, they have good height and weight in the inside there.
Hughes hands off to Rowe, off the right side. Rowe finds a hole. He breaks a few tackles, and he's down inside the 20.
Fine run by Derek Rowe.
Rowe has looked great this year, Jimmy. I have to say, he's a different ball player from the last several years.
He really is. We mentioned that in the Cerebro game that he had a tendency the previous 2 years to do a lot of lateral running, and now that he's got running down pat, I think he's just going straight forward, doing a real good job.
All right, East Brunswick on the 19-yard line. First down. Hughes a fake to Rowe and an inside handoff to Bazinko, and Glenn is close to the 15-yard line. We'll see where they mark the ball. East Brunswick's on the move.
As is customary for Marcus Borden, he sends in the plays. He usually has Siliberti and Pilato coming in and out.
Ball's marked on the 16-yard line where it'll be 2nd and 7 for East Brunswick. Siliberti and Flanagan are split wide. Hughes rolls right. He's going to keep the ball. He's got a wide open field. Steve Hughes is taken down at the 5-yard line. That's going to be close to a first down.
Oh, he's way past the first down marker. John, he's got a first down. You know, Steve Hughes, that has been his forte all year, and as a matter of fact, in the Colonia game, it was his decision to run the ball on a key down that scored the winning touchdown.
East Brunswick's on the roll. They have the ball 1st and 10 on the Stevens 5-yard line. Here they go, full house backfield. Hughes, hands off to Bazinko, off the right side. Bazinko stopped short. Maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. We'll see where they mark it. That'll bring up a 2nd down.
They'll give him 1 yard. Comes junior Andy Warrenberg out of the backfield.
Mike Bostowski going in. That's one thing about Borden. He isn't afraid to substitute, and he's been rewarded well by his players.
East Brunswick depth. It's one of the reasons why they're here today.
Okay, 2nd and goal to go for East Brunswick. Hughes, hands off the row. Rowe dances around the left side and is down to maybe the 3-yard line. There's no score in this game, but East Brunswick is on the move.
Okay, this is prime territory for Steve Hughes to run his quarterback sneak. You've seen him done it numerous times this year.
The ball has been spotted, Jimmy, on the 1-yard line. This is 3rd down.
Mike Steinberg, Polk County center.
East Brunswick looking to go on top. Hughes to Rowe. Rowe dives over. Is he in? He's short. He didn't miss by much, I don't think, Jim.
What do you do in a situation like this?
I think you go for it. You're probably on the half-foot line. And with Pazinko in a row and the talents of Hughes, you got to go.
Right. With that
Mike Bostowski's coming in for Borden.
Right. I don't think a field goal would be in order here. You got that stiff wind, and even though it's very close.
There you go, Marcus Borden. 4th down on the 1-yard line. East Brunswick looking to go ahead in this game. Steve Hughes keeps the ball, and he puts it over, and East Brunswick's on top. Steve Hughes just stuck his arm over the goal line, Jimmy. Nothing fancy about that play.
Really, he has such long arms that all he needs to do is just to put it over. And as you know in football, the ball breaks the plane of the goal line. It's a touchdown.
So East Brunswick goes on top 6-0 with 4 minutes and 34 seconds left to go here in the 1st quarter. Would you say that was a patented East Brunswick drive?
Patented in the sense that they were able to establish position. We'll pick this up in a second.
We got flags down. I think Stevens' man was offside at the snap.
You asked about the fact whether it was a patented drive. You know, Hughes tried to throw just once on that, and he was able to hit Celebrity for a significant yard. And it was just a matter of Pazinko breaking loose for a couple of yards, Derek Rowe going for a long one, and then ending up with a quarterback sneak. That's something that they've done often this year.
All right, there is a flag down on the field. They're talking to the East Brunswick players, and we'll see what the call is. Offsides against Stevens, and we'll try once again for the extra point.
Yeah,
timeout. East Brunswick's called timeout, and Marcus Borden is going to go over and talk about it.
I can see why, John. You know, you have a situation here with this wind that even a point after touchdown is going to be an adventure, so that when you can bring the ball half the distance to the goal line, in this case on the 1.5-yard line, you have to seriously think about whether or not you want to go for 2 points.
It's a good point, Jim, and it looks like that Coach Borden has brought in his offense and will probably go for the 2-point conversion.
And I have to think that throwing the ball is in order here. Flanagan has been able to get open a lot of times this year. Rushnacks.
I think we're going to see some kind of role where Hughes will have the option of either running or throwing the ball.
That's what's
puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
It really does.
If you're just with us, East Brunswick has just scored on a Steve Hughes plunge. They lead 6-0. There's a timeout on the field as East Brunswick is talking over whether they're going to go for the 2-point conversion.
Here we go.
And they will go for 2. Steve Hughes brings the team out. He has triple formation right. Hughes rolls, looks, throws it over the head of a breaking, I think that's Barry Flanagan. Yes, he was looking for Flanagan in the back of the end zone and overthrew him. But East Brunswick leads 6-0.
Well-designed play. Hughes overthrew the ball. You know, there's a lot of people we're seeing here today that we haven't seen in a while. I saw before the game George Tardif, the former coach for East Brunswick. George went out to Kansas again to be a college football coach, and there were some circumstances which caused him to leave that position. And he says that he's currently looking now, and New Jersey is a possibility.
Well, we wish George luck. He did an outstanding job here while he was head of the program, and it's always nice to see him back rooting on this team. All right, to bring you back up to date, it's 6-0 East Brunswick, and Stevens will await the kickoff. George Booth is back deep for Stevens, along with Troy Johnson. Here's Ted Pazinko's kick. It's going to be Troy Johnson. He takes it out about his 20, breaks to his left side, and is taken down around the 26-yard line. Actually crossed the 30, so Stevens will have the ball 1st and 10 on their own 33-yard line.
John, a little bit later we're going to talk about next year, if that's in order. I think we got to get this game out of the way first, but awful lot of possibilities for East Brunswick next year.
Okay, Thomas brings Stevens out. Again, he has Grubbs and Booth in the backfield with him, and Green is in motion. Hand off to Grubbs.
Let's see how many times that Booth carries the ball today. Certainly the workhorse.
That was Grubbs who carried the ball. Picked up close to 5 yards. So it'll be 2nd and around 5 to go. Stevens has the ball on their own 35-yard line. They trail in this game 6-0.
Yeah, the fans are still coming in.
Thomas spins. Pitches to Booth, who wasn't looking for the ball. That's loose. And East Brunswick's got it.
See, I think that was...
George Booth was not even expecting that pitch out from Thomas.
That was Mark DiOrenzo recovering the ball.
And East Brunswick has it back on their own 34-yard line. Rather, on the Stevens 34-yard line.
Not second turnover, certainly the second mistake of the game for J.B. Stevens, something that they cannot afford to do.
So East Brunswick goes back on offense. They lead 6-0. We have 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Barry Flanagan in motion right. Fakes the row. Hughes is looking for Flanagan. He's got Tony Pilato wide open, and Pilato drops the ball. I think Tony started to run before he had that one, Jim.
Yeah, I was looking at the sun to see if that was a factor, but the sun was under the clouds at that time. It was just a matter of him just dropping the ball.
All right, that'll bring us 2nd down for East Brunswick on Stevens' 34-yard line.
We see Rushnick in there at tight end. Hughes wanted to go to the air quickly, Matt, I thought.
All right, Ciliberti now in motion right. Hughes pitches to Rowe, sweep right. He's got some blockers in front of him. Rowe fights his way down to about the 30-yard line, where it'll bring up a 3rd down.
That was all Derek Rowe effort right there. He just avoided tackle after tackle and made those 5 yards, it appears.
I'm sure Borden wants to keep this drive alive. To go up by 2 touchdowns early in the game would give East Brunswick a decided advantage. Okay, 3rd and 5 for East Brunswick on the 30-yard line. I would think they're going to look to go in the air with this one.
Absolutely.
Hughes calling signals. He's dropped straight back, looking for a man. He's throwing the ball deep. He's got 2 men down there in the end zone. Oh, and a collision, and it's ruled incomplete. I don't see any flags, Jim.
No, I think it was a good call. It appeared that the ball, it was up for grabs for anybody. The Stevens people were behind the East Brunswick runners. That was George Booth out there as one, and Troy Johnson, another senior, was also out there. I don't think East Brunswick's going to be able to burn Stevens as far as the speed is concerned.
All right, that brings up a 4th down and 5 for East Brunswick on Stevens' 30-yard line. Let's see what they're going to do. And Marcus Borden has decided to go for it.
Why not?
4th and 5. Here we go. Hughes fakes the row, looks over the middle, and he's got Glenn Pazinko, and he may be close enough for the 1st. Let's see where they mark it, Jim.
Oh, he's got it. He's got it. Excellent play call.
The officials are still looking and marking the ball. And yes, it is. It's a 1st down for East Brunswick. So the drive stays alive. There's 2 minutes left in here the first quarter.
See, this ability to throw to Glenn Pazinko and Derek Rowe just gives another added dimension to the East Brunswick game, something that Stevens has to make an adjustment for. Unofficially, I have used 2 for 5.
All right, Hughes hands off to Pazinko inside. Some hard running by Glenn. close to 5-yard pickup.
East Brunswick seems to be getting more forward movement out of its offensive line. Perhaps that 4th down picked them up.
Well, Pazinko picks up 5. That'll bring up the 2nd and 5 on the Stevens 18-yard line. So again, East Brunswick down deep in Stevens territory. They lead 6-0. Ciliberti in motion. A pitch to Rowe left. Rowe breaks a tackle and cuts up the middle. That'll bring up the 3rd and about 2. The ball is placed on the 15-yard line. We're down to the last 50 seconds of this quarter. Okay, 3rd and 2 for East Brunswick on the 15 of Stevens. Hughes, quarterback draw right up the middle.
He's got a first down.
He's a tough runner as he plows over for the first down. That's just sheer determination, Jim.
John, I see Derek Rowe stooped down on the sidelines there. Trainer Phil Hostler was looking at him. Now he's starting to come over the bench. I don't know what is wrong with him.
All right, we'll see if we can find out what happened to Derek Rowe. East Brunswick has the first down. They're on the Stevens 8-yard line. Hughes pitches to Bostowski. Left side, he sweeps, fumbles the ball. And Stevens is recovered. No, wait. The officials have said the ball is down. That was a
break for East Brunswick. It appeared that number 71 for Stevens, Mike Volpe, had that ball, and somehow Beskowski squeezed in and got it.
So East Brunswick comes up with a break. There's no other way to describe it, and that's the end of the first quarter. East Brunswick leading 6-0. The East Brunswick team receives a nice hand from this crowd.
John, Hughes hasn't had his best performance yet today that he's had this year. He's 2 for 5 unofficially, but you know that he is one of the most highly sought-after quarterbacks in the state of New Jersey. I talked to him about this, and he is considering Rutgers among other colleges. I know Michigan is after him, Penn State, Boston College, Pittsburgh, just about every major college in the United States. And Steve has as much said that he will consider playing at any Division I school. He does not want to play small college football. And I think he's making a good choice. Marcus Gordon, the coach, also mentioned that he feels that Hughes can play Division I football.
All right, Jim, as we get ready to start the second quarter, East Brunswick has the ball on the 6-yard line with a 2nd down. They lead 6-0, and they're looking to put another one on. Derek Rowe is back up, Jim, by the way, is putting his helmet back on, so we should see more of him.
It appeared that he might have had the wind knocked out of him that time. Let's see if East Brunswick can capitalize on that break right there.
2nd down and 6 for East Brunswick on the Stevens 6-yard line. They lead 6-0 here as we start play in the second quarter. Hughes hands off to Pazinko off the left side. Glenn's fighting hard. And he picked up about 3 yards.
Some good tough running by Pazinko. It appears, John, that East Brunswick is going to rely on Pazinko as its workhorse runner today, as it has in the past.
Derek Rowe is back in. The ball has been spotted on the 4-yard line where East Brunswick will have a 3rd and goal to go.
East Brunswick has the win this quarter. John, do you think they're going to throw?
If they don't, you have a story for next week. Here's Hughes. He's looking to throw the ball. Lifts it up for Flanagan. What a catch in the end zone! Barry Flanagan!
Wasn't that a great catch?
Jimmy, he's done it all year long. Barry Flanagan on a beautiful pass from Steve Hughes.
You know, when the pass first went off, I thought it was going to be overthrown, but it seemed like Flanagan just turned on the burner and was able to come up with the ball.
And East Brunswick goes up 12-0 here in the opening minutes of the second quarter. The extra point is no good. And so East Brunswick is leading 12-0.
John, I was going to say before this quarter even started that the second quarter has been East Brunswick's all year. You know, they have outscored the opposition 134 points to 33. And then all of a sudden, they don't have a minute gone in the second quarter, and they nail up 6 more.
Well, this looks almost like a repeat of that game at Stevens a few weeks back.
Yes, it is. And I think East Brunswick is much more comfortable now being ahead 12-0 than being behind 12-0 like they were against Colonia.
All right, Ted Pazinko will kick it off for East Brunswick. Again, Stevens has Booth and Grubbs back deep. They're 2 speedsters. Stevens has to get something going on offense. They have just played poorly, mistakes and poor execution. Ted Pazinko, beautiful kick. And this is going to be
Troy Johnson.
Johnson. Whoa! Out of stun, right, he breaks loose. Johnson, fine run back. Up close to the 45-yard line.
Excellent run back by Johnson.
Well, this may get Stevens going now, Jimmy.
Right. I think what they could not afford to do was to get caught deep in their own territory, facing a very stiff wind. You know, we haven't seen Thomas throw that much today. That's one of his strong points. People don't look to him as being a strong passer, but I've seen him throw the ball 50 yards in the air.
He does have an arm, and although we haven't seen it yet, he can put the ball deep. Thomas calling signals for Stevens. He pivots, keeps the ball, and is struck hard by East Brunswick defense. That was number 75 for East Brunswick, Tony Ferrandino.
And Paul Lynch was in on that too.
Jimmy, he was right in his shirt.
Yes, he was.
This defensive line for East Brunswick has done it all season. Particularly in that Colonia game, they came back with fire in their eyes.
Gordon could not give enough praise to his offensive and defensive lines. You know, when you have 3 players like Pazinko, Rowe, and Rushnick out of there, you got to look to somebody, and the other team came through nicely.
All right, Stevens has the ball on their own 43, 2nd and 10. That's Green in motion. Thomas is going to pass. He drops back, looks over the middle, and he's got a man wide open, number 34, Jack Anaboli for Stevens.
Haven't heard too much about him, but there's that passing arm of Robert Thomas, and I think East Brunswick is going to have to be a little more sharp on that. You know, they're rushing the passer and having good success doing that, but you can't allow Robert Thomas to use his arm.
All right, Stevens picks up a 1st down, and the ball is now on the East Brunswick 42.
I would not be surprised
1st and 10.
To see Booth come out of the backfield to catch a few, too.
Stevens trailing 12-0 here in the 2nd period. A pitch to Booth to the right side, cuts upfield, and is stopped after a gain of about 3 yards. So they haven't been able to run for all the talk during the week about Stevens' running ability. They really haven't broken the big one.
Well, this is what I said before the game, John. I thought East Brunswick can play defensively well against J.P. Stevens. And I think I'll also mention that Stevens has had a lot of trouble scoring in the last 3 weeks. They've only scored 2 touchdowns in the last 3 games, even with George Booth in there.
Okay, Stevens is on the East Brunswick 38. It's 2nd and 6. Thomas puts Green in motion again. Pitches to Booth. It looks like the same play. Booth picks up another 3 yards. So they seem to be intent to grind it out.
Well, when you have a player like George Booth and with a little bit of running room, I think you're going to try to do that. Let's face it, 12-0, still the first half. Stevens is not in a position where they have to change their game that much.
No, a score right here, and they're back in the ball game. Brings up a 3rd down and 4 for Stevens on the East Brunswick 36. We'll see if they will put the ball up in the air at this point. Thomas looks over the defense. Seems to be changing the play. Hands off to Booth up the middle. Booth breaks right through. He's gone. There's the speed of George Booth, Jim.
Yeah.
They caught East Brunswick in a very tight defense, and Booth just broke it off the right side.
Yeah, I don't think they were looking for that call. You know, you had about a 3rd and 4 to go.
3rd and 4.
Potential passing situation, and you know, that's the 3rd play in a row that Stevens went on the right side. You think they might have found something over there.
So Booth on a 36-yard run gets J.P. Stevens back in the game.
This could be an important point after touchdown.
Here's the kick. It's up, and it's good. The score is now East Brunswick 12, J.P. Stevens 7. With 8 minutes and 21 seconds left here before halftime.
It's going to be a good ball game after all.
Jimmy, a lot of people, I'm sure, were a little skeptical. Stevens coming in 6-2. They've had their problems the last few weeks. They lost on Thanksgiving Day, but they are a good team.
Oh, they are. We talked about a lot of their players already, and again, that playoff experience can help you. They don't seem a lot rattled out there, that's for sure.
All right, Stevens will kick off. East Brunswick has Rowe, Warrenberg, and Bostowski deep. And we've got a ball game. East Brunswick jumped out early in the first quarter, 12-0, and Stevens has just come back to tie it on a 36-yard run by George Booth.
Let's see what East Brunswick can do with the ball, with the win.
Kyle Pagash will kick off for Stevens. And a nice kick. Rowe is going to field it out around the 25-yard line. Looking for some running room, and he's taken down at around the 34. Where East Brunswick go on offense, 1st and 10.
I guarantee you, you're going to see Hughes cranking it up this time.
Well, quite honestly, the Stevens defense hasn't stopped much of what East Brunswick has done thus far. So East Brunswick doesn't have to change anything offensively at this point. All right, the ball is placed on the 34-yard line. 1st and 10 for East Brunswick.
Flanagan and Pilato are flanked left and right.
Fake to Rowe, an inside handoff to Pazinko. And Glenn picks up about 4 yards before he's brought down by the Stevens defense.
We're going to try to have some stats at halftime, and right away I would say Pazinko probably has about 30 yards of rushing.
He's looked good.
This is his last game also, and we ought to mention that he's a bona fide Division I player. Whether he plays offensively or defensively, that remains a question.
Pazinko picks up 4, and the ball is on East Brunswick 38, 2nd and 6. Hughes looking for the pass. He's got Flanagan on the outside, wide open, beautiful play. And Barry Flanagan brings it down to the Stevens 46-yard line. 1st down for East Brunswick.
John, you saw Hughes pump once, and that was enough to freeze the Stevens secondary, allowing Flanagan to make his cut outside. Had a lot of room to catch the ball, and I can't remember the last time he dropped one.
And I wouldn't be surprised, Jimmy, to see Barry take that down later on in this game. All right, East Brunswick, 1st and 10 on the Stevens 45-yard line. Hughes pitches the row off the left side, and Derek picks up about 6 yards. He's hungry today, Derek Rowe.
His last game also. We'll talk a little bit later about the East Brunswick basketball team. You know, Frank Knoppenberger is the receivers coach, and he really hasn't been able to devote any time to the basketball program. The first game, I think, is December 14th, which is just 2 weeks away.
All right, East Brunswick on the Stevens 42. It's 2nd and 5. Siliberti in motion right. Hughes looking to pass again, rolls right. Looking deep down the corner, Siliberti's wide open. Taken out at about the 19-yard line. That ball was on the money, Jimmy.
That had zip on it. That's what makes Hughes a real Division I prospect. He has the ability to get there.
Siliberti came in motion, went down, and just broke out to the outside. Another 1st down for East Brunswick on the 20-yard line. And Stevens cannot stop this passing game.
It's been like clockwork all the way.
1st and 10, East Brunswick on the Stevens 20-yard line. They lead 12-7 with 6 minutes and 30 seconds to go here before halftime. Pazinko again off the left side, and he'll pick up a few yards.
Steve is mixing it up nice. I think you have to run the ball often to, just make the Stevens defense honest so they can get those pass receivers open. Knowing Steve, he might try to go for the end zone on this play.
Pazinko picks up 2. It'll be 2nd and 8 for East Brunswick. Ball spotted on the Stevens 18-yard line. Siliberti and Flanagan are split. Hughes looking again. He's got over the middle looking for Barry Flanagan, but the ball is thrown low and into the dirt. Bring up a 3rd and 8 for East Brunswick. Jimmy, we said early that Stevens would have to get a pass rush on Hughes, and I don't see it thus far.
No, that's the East Brunswick offensive line being able to do its job, keep those boys out of there. And if you look at Stevens' defensive line, they've got a lot of nice size on there. It's a lot of 200 pounds plus.
All right, 3rd and 8 for East Brunswick on the Stevens 18. Hughes fakes throw, looking to throw the ball. He's got Flanagan. What a catch out about the 2-yard line. Barry Flanagan came back on that ball, made a nice over-the-shoulder grab, and it's 1st down and goal again for East Brunswick.
You know, we're running out of superlatives to describe Barry Flanagan, but that ball was thrown with a lot of velocity on it, and you know, Barry just grabbed it. He has a term for a habit of execution, he calls it, of just concentrating, and you know, what more can you say about this guy?
There's no one who does it better, Jim, quite honestly, in the high school. All right, East Brunswick.
It's a little confusion. I think East Brunswick's going to have to call timeout here.
And they do, Jim. East Brunswick calls a timeout with 5 minutes and 22 seconds to go before half. They lead 12-7, and the ball is on the Stevens 3-yard line. 1st down and goal.
I have Hughes at 6 for 10 right now. He's really improved his statistics in this drive, as we thought he would. They started this drive approximately on the 35-yard line, was it? And has just marched right down, mixing passes with good running, like Pazinko. Derek's run the ball a couple of times. Primary receiver has been Barry, with Celebrity catching one also.
Jimmy, I can't help but notice, but we have a full house here. We have people standing around the perimeter of the field. This is great to see. These East Brunswick fans have been supporting East Brunswick all along, and I'm really pleased to say that at the away games, we generally outman the home teams.
It's always been the case. East Brunswick loves its football.
You going? Timeout on the field. Marcus Borden talking to his offense. East Brunswick will come up with a 1st down and goal on the 3-yard line. We'd like to remind everyone that at halftime, we'll see the outstanding East Brunswick High School band, led by Gordon Tedeschi. Here's East Brunswick. Hughes fakes inside. He's got plenty of time, looking for an open receiver. Throws it into a cut. Oh! Outstanding attempt by Bob Rushneck. Hughes had plenty of time, couldn't find a receiver, and laid a bullet there on Rushneck, who almost made the catch.
I was surprised to see him go to the air, you know, with 1st down on the 3-yard line with Pazinko and Rowe. You'd have to think that he would try to push it across on the rush.
All right, 2nd down on the 3-yard line. East Brunswick. There goes Pazinko. Is he close? No call from the official.
Well, we have a bad angle here. It's kind of difficult to see where he's at.
Officials are marking the ball. I think Glenn's around the 1-yard line. And that's where the ball is marked. East Brunswick will have a 3rd and 1. They lead 12-7. Hughes hands off to Pazinko again. Glenn dives. We're waiting for a call, and he's in. Glenn Pazinko. Pazinko noses his way in, and East Brunswick is now leading 18-7.
Very predictable call, John. Straight up the middle with Glenn. I'm getting a kick out of Dud Ty, our cameraman up here for East Brunswick. He says, run it, run it.
Everyone's into this game this afternoon. All right, East Brunswick will go for 2.
Dud Ty, one of the former head basketball coaches for East Brunswick, does the game films.
All right, East Brunswick will go for 2. Hughes looking for Flanagan. He's got it, and there's 2 points. And East Brunswick increases its lead now, 20-7 over J.P. Stevens. 4 minutes and 40 seconds left before halftime.
John, I hope the fans can appreciate what they're seeing this afternoon with Flanagan as a receiver. He has such outstanding ability to cut that the Stevens player, the defender that time, had to allow him some room, and Barry just put a move on him and just got himself open. It's just a tremendous play.
All right, J.P. Stevens finds itself behind again by 13 points. And
a lot of college scouts are here to see Hughes, you know. I think they're going to be impressed with Flanagan as well.
I would agree with you, Jimmy. All right, Ted Pazinko will kick it off for East Brunswick. Beautiful kick once again. And we have Troy Johnson. It's a fake reverse. Johnson still has the ball. And he's taken down close to the 30-yard line.
That's better coverage on the kickoff return. You know, East Brunswick has had a couple of problems this year on being able to defend the kickoff return, but it was good coverage that time.
All right, JP Stevens will have the ball on their own 30 with about 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go before half. They trail 20-7 here. And need we remind you, this is for the Central Jersey Group 4 State Championship. Thomas brings the offense out. Booth and Grubbs are in the backfield. And there's a handoff to Grubbs. Up the middle, Grubbs breaks a few tackles, and he's got running room. Grubbs down the sideline, and he's knocked out of bounds around the 38-yard line.
You know, if it wasn't for DiRenzo that time, Grubbs would have been gone.
Jimmy, that looks like the same play they scored on earlier.
They're finding something on the right side of that line. I don't know if it's superior blocking on Stevens' part or whether or not there's a breakdown on the East Brunswick side, but there's going to have to be some adjustments made.
Ron Grubbs brings the ball for Stevens into East Brunswick territory. It's placed on the East Brunswick 43, what'll be 1st and 10. We're under 4 minutes to go before halftime. Stevens trails 20-7. Green in motion. Thomas, a pitch back to Booth. Left side. Booth taken down. Beautiful play by, I can't see the number 20, Ken Pruss. He's been doing that all year, Jimmy.
Yeah, he's a sophomore too. He was inserted when Anthony Pilato was injured earlier in the year. He just found himself a job.
Pickup of about 3 for Stevens. It'll be 2nd and 7 on the East Brunswick 40-yard line. All right, Thomas has Green split wide right. Split backfield. 2nd and 7. He looks to pass, drops. He's putting the ball deep in the air. Derek Rowe. And he's got a Green. Green right over Rowe, took the ball away. Derek Rowe didn't even see that coming, Jimmy.
Right.
He had his back to the play.
A very difficult ball to catch with that sun in his eyes, but he came through with it.
Benjamin Green made a nice catch. You're right, with the sun in his eye, and Derek Rowe just never saw it coming. That's a big play for Stevens.
Right.
That brings the ball down to the East Brunswick 6-yard line, where they'll have it 1st and 10.
You know, there's 3 minutes left in this half, and I think if Stevens can push it across here, it's something they really want to do because it'll put them in a nice position for the second half.
1st and 10 for Stevens on the East Brunswick 6-yard line. Here goes Booth off the right side. He breaks the tackle and he's in. George Booth, his 2nd touchdown. And that makes the score East Brunswick 20, JP Stevens 13.
That was that right side of the line again.
Something Borden will have to address at halftime for sure, Jay. Stevens will go for the extra point.
This is Pagich going to be kicking for JP Stevens.
Snap, the ball's placed, the kick is up, and no good. And so the score remains East Brunswick 20, JP Stevens 13, with 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go before halftime.
You know, the wind was kind of whipping from left to right on your screen, and I think it was long enough, but it's just that the wind just had that much effect to pull it off to the side. That's why I don't think you're going to see any field goal attempts today on that side of the field.
So Stevens looks like they have their offense in gear anyway, Jim, and are making a game of this.
Yes, they are. They have good, excellent personnel, good offensive personnel with Booth in there. And I think East Brunswick has found itself in a game.
All right, East Brunswick has Derek Rowe, Andy Wernberg, and Mike Bostowski deep as they await the kickoff.
So the East Brunswick cheerleading contingent, numbering 26 down there. They've got all the forces out today.
And here's the kick by Pagish. Rowe will field the ball at around his 15-yard line. They're looking for a return here. Rowe has no running room, but he breaks to the right side. He's got the speed if he can turn the corner, and he does, and he's up around the 40-yard line. Nice individual effort, Derek Rowe.
That's what I was going to say, John. Individual effort. You know, he was going up the middle, found a plug there, and skirted to the outside and gained a lot of nice yardage there.
You know, East Brunswick wants to put one on here, Jim, before halftime.
They really would. They want to get that 2-touchdown cushion if they can.
Okay, Steve Hughes will bring the offense out. They are ahead at the moment, 20-13, with about 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go.
I see Zambrovitz. Greg Zambrovitz is off to the sideline there. He seems to be injured.
Hughes calling signals. Fumbles the ball, drops it, picks it up, and plows ahead for a pickup of maybe 2 yards. Good heads-up play by Steve Hughes.
Yes, it was.
He seemed to pull away from the center just a step early. That'll bring up 2nd down and 9 for East Brunswick on their own 40-yard line.
Steve really had it in him to just get that ball, go back and throw, but of course with the fumble, it just busted.
Hughes. Hands off to Rowe. Rowe pitches back to Hughes. It's a
Flanagan outside.
flea flicker. Hughes throws the ball deep. Oh, Siliberti comes back and almost makes a fantastic catch. Good heads-up play by Mike Siliberti.
It was. Too bad Steve did not see Flanagan. He was on the 30-yard line all by himself, and I think when Siliberti got loose, Steve just wanted to throw it as far as he could.
Marcus Borden is pulling all the tricks out, and a nice comeback by Siliberti. He was covered, the ball was underthrown, and he came back to almost make a fantastic catch.
It's an interesting situation. Stevens is calling timeout here.
Stevens wants the ball back again and hopes that they'll have time for another score. There's 1 minute and 57 seconds left, and big 3rd down for East Brunswick. Good strategy call on the part of Stevens.
I think so, although, you know, East Brunswick's 3rd down success ratio today, I believe, has been excellent, and all during the season. You know, with a quarterback like Hughes and with his receivers, it doesn't take much for them to get the 1st down, and I think that's going to be what they're going to try to do here, obviously, instead of going for a touchdown. Let's see what kind of success they have.
Stevens has called a timeout. Both coaches are on the field talking to their respective units. We have 1 minute and 57 to go before halftime. East Brunswick leading 20-13. They have the ball 3rd down and 8 on their own 41.
I saw Tony Simonelli, the J.P. Stevens coach, just leave the field right now. He's in his 2nd year, and he's done a really good job.
Okay, big 3rd down play for East Brunswick. Hughes drops straight back. He's got Flanagan wide open over the middle, and there it is. Barry Flanagan. 1st down, and East Brunswick keeps the ball.
You really can't give him that, can you?
I can't believe how much room they're giving Flanagan. Barry came down and just did a square in, was all alone. Hughes picked them up, and it's 1st down for East Brunswick on the Stevens 44-yard line.
Yeah, we're going to have some halftime stats. I think that's about 5 or 6 catches for Flanagan. You know, he set a record last week against Colonia with 12.
There goes Hughes, looking to pass the ball again. He drops. He's putting the ball up high for Flanagan. In the corner, he's got it. And the ball is dropped by Flanagan, but a flag is down. I think we're going to have offensive interference. I believe Barry Flanagan pushed the defender.
Yes, he did.
But we'll wait for the official call. Beautiful pass, Jimmy. That ball was in the air, 55 yards.
It really was. You know, with a little help from the wind here, Hughes is really being able to air it out today.
Here's the official call. Pass interference against Barry Flanagan. And we'll see what Stevens decides to do.
That was a very difficult call to make. You know, they're nip and tuck down there. Apparently Barry just kind of pushed off on the defender. That's a big one, 15 yards.
Stevens has accepted, moves the ball back to the East Brunswick 40, where it'll bring up 2nd and about 20 yards to go, 25 for a 1st down. 1 minute and 31 to go before halftime. East Brunswick leading 20-13. 2nd and 25. Hughes hands off to Pazinko. A quick trap up the middle, and Glenn will get about 8 yards of that back.
Nobody calling timeout.
I'm surprised Stevens hasn't called timeout. East Brunswick will move quickly up onto the ball without a huddle. Hughes drops back. Here's the pass. Intended for Rushnack, but just to the other side of him. That'll stop the clock with 1 minute and 6 seconds left. And the ball on the East Brunswick 48-yard line.
Apparently, Rushneck was under the impression that he was going to go inside on that, but Steve threw to the outside.
It's 4th down and 21, and East Brunswick will punt. So Stevens will get the ball back one more time, Jim, before halftime.
Yeah, and again, East Brunswick has to be very sure that they do not allow Stevens to score here.
And a timeout is called by Stevens. I would think maybe they want to set up some kind of return.
That's probably what it is. You know, the clock was stopped. So Simonelli wants to make very sure that he has the proper run back here.
We want to remind our audience that at halftime we will be showing you the outstanding East Brunswick High School marching band. So we hope you stay with us and enjoy the fine halftime entertainment.
You know, we're not going to do too much speculating at this point, but kind of thought about how East Brunswick is going to be next year. You know, losing 24 seniors, including people like Hughes and Pazinko and Derek Rowe, has to have Borden thinking even at this time. What is he going to do? And probably the biggest hole that's going to have to be filled is going to be Hughes at quarterback.
Yeah, I would agree, Jim.
Even the backups this year have been seniors, so I think that's going to be his primary thing that he has to do.
Okay, Barry Flanagan back deep to punt. High snap. And a good punt. Outstanding punt. Takes Johnson, lets it bounce. That ball's going to be dead at about the 3-yard line. That was a mistake, Jimmy. I think that ball had to be fielded by Stevens.
Well, I think with the trajectory that it was supposed to go into the end zone, but it sort of hit a dead spot there and it just died.
All right, Stevens in a hole with under a minute to go, 56 seconds to be exact. They trail in this ball game 20-13, and they've got around 97 yards to go to tie this ball game up.
Right. With that clock running, I think the strategy has just changed. I think Stevens does not want to make any mistakes here. They want to go into halftime trailing by just 7 points.
All right, Thomas brings the team out. He hands off to Booth. Booth off the left side. Booth is by himself. He's going to break this. I don't know if anyone will be able to catch him. George Booth may go 97 yards to tie this ball game up. And he'll do it. Can you believe this, Jimmy? On the 3-yard line, he goes 97. No flags. This ball game is tied with 25 seconds to go.
Well, it's not tied, but it could be.
And he's down on the field, and you can't blame him. He's probably looking for oxygen. George Booth has just gone 97 yards to bring Stevens within 1 point of tying this ball game.
There he comes. Wasn't that a beautiful run?
Jimmy, as soon as he broke left, there wasn't anyone near him. And with his speed, I didn't think anyone was going to catch him.
Right. What started as a conservative run turned into a sprint.
And this has got to rock the East Brunswick coaching staff and the team itself.
Yes, it will.
Jimmy, that's Booth's 3rd touchdown this game, and it's only halftime.
Not even. 25 seconds left.
Well, the strategy paid off. They called the timeouts to get the ball back.
Look at the Stevens side. Boy, are they excited.
Who would have thought on their 3-yard line with 30 seconds to go before half that they would score?
We got a timeout here.
This is an important call, whether they go for the extra point or go for the 2. George Booth, 97 yards to bring Stevens within 1 point of the tie, and then 2 for the lead. We'll see what Stevens decides to do. 25 seconds left before halftime. East Brunswick, going up and down this field all game, has now find themselves, well, they could find themselves behind.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on here.
George Booth with his 3rd touchdown.
Okay, I think they're going for 2.
They got Thomas in. It looks like they will go for 2. An important play here in the game. If nothing else psychologically. Stevens will go for 2. It's 20-19. 25 seconds left before half. They've just scored. A little mix up in the backfield. Grubbs is stopped. He won't make it. And the East Brunswick defense comes alive.
That's a curious call, John. You know, you spend a lot of time with a timeout, and then you call a simple off-tackle play.
So East Brunswick holds on to the lead, 20-19.
And I wonder what type of effect that's going to have on the momentum at this point. You know, Stevens comes down, scores, has a chance to at least tie the game. Elect to go for two. East Brunswick stops it, and it's got to give them a little bit of a lift at halftime.
I would agree, Jimmy. Look at the sidelines. Before they were very complacent over on Stevens' side. They're jumping up and down, everyone's slapping one another. They're back in this ball game. In contrast, the East Brunswick players are stunned. Very quiet on their sidelines. They had a commanding 20-7 lead. They saw that evaporate. It is now 20-19 with 25 seconds to go before halftime. So Stevens will kick it off to East Brunswick. We'll see what they can do.
Right. What I wanted to say, John, was that I think that stopping Stevens there has to help East Brunswick.
Here's the kickoff. Ball's going to bound. Picked up by Chalecki. Chalecki's going to get to around the 35-yard line. And East Brunswick will have the ball with 19 seconds to go. I would think you're going to see Steve Hughes air it out now.
He has nothing to lose, except if Booth, let's see, Booth, is he in there? No,
I would think you're going to see Stevens playing at least 30 yards off the ball in that defensive backfield.
You've got Johnson back there.
The clock is running. East Brunswick's going to let the clock run out, and that's going to be the half. East Brunswick leading 20-19. Now, what a first half, Jimmy.
Well played on both sides. You know, we thought that East Brunswick was going to really do a number on Stevens that they had earlier in this year at 12-0, and then Stevens comes back.
All right, it's halftime here at East Brunswick with the Bears leading 20-19. And as we've said before, it's going to be a ball game. We ask that you stay here and watch the East Brunswick High School Band. Well, welcome back to the second half of this East Brunswick J.P. Stevens championship game. Jimmy, 20-19. What a first half, anyway.
Yeah, it was a tremendous first half. Really sets the situation up for a very exciting second half. I got a couple statistics which I'd like to share as we move along here into the second half. Just as before we have the second half kickoff, East Brunswick, interestingly, has 11 first downs to Stevens 5. But here's where the difference is. In rushing yardage, East Brunswick has 85. That's primarily on Glenn Pizzico's 35 yards. Rowe has 28. Steve Hughes has 20. But looks like Stevens has 169, and that's 98 yards on the part of George Booth.
Okay, we're ready to start the third period here. East Brunswick's leading 20-19. Ted Pizzico will kick it off, and the ball falls off the tee.
And I'll use this opportunity to say something else. Hughes was 9 for 16 in the first half. Good for approximately 102 yards, including the 1 touchdown. Flanagan, 5 catches for 52 yards.
Okay, Ted Pizzico. Nice kick. This is going to be Johnson. He feels it at his 10-yard line, fakes the reverse, brings the ball up, a nice return again for Stevens. Johnson breaks off to the right side. He's close to the 40-yard line, rather the 50-yard line. Good run back, and that's going to put pressure on the East Brunswick defense.
All right, we're going to see what this defense is made of right here. Obviously, Stevens is on a high after that second quarter explosion of theirs. I think East Brunswick's defense is going to have to respond right here.
East Brunswick now on defense with Stevens has the ball on their own 47. It's 1st and 10. We just start the third quarter. That's Green in motion. Pitch back to Booth. Off the right side, they're finding running room over there. Booth will pick up about 4 yards.
Yeah, I think it was the secondary that came up and made that tackle. They were able to get, about 6 yards on that play.
Second down for J.P. Stevens. Ball has been marked on the East Brunswick 48-yard line. It'll be a 2nd and 5. So Booth picked up 5 yards.
We will watch closely to see what adjustments East Brunswick made in its defense, trying to stop George Booth.
All right, Thomas, the quarterback for Stevens, comes up to the line of scrimmage. Booth and Grubbs are in the backfield. They're split. A reverse, an inside reverse, and it's stopped cold. Who made the tackle, Jimmy? I can't see.
I'm trying to find out. I think that was Zambrovitz, number 56.
So a little razzle-dazzle fail for Stevens. That'll bring up a 3rd and 7. They actually lost 2 yards on the play. They trail 20-19 here at the start of the third period.
You know, we don't want to talk about key plays, but I have to think this is one right here. If East Brunswick can stop Stevens, force them to punt, get the ball, and I think they've done what they tried to do.
3rd and 7, J.P. Stevens. They trail 20-19. Thomas goes back to pass. He rolls right, looking for a man. He's going to run the ball. And we'll see if he's close to the first down.
I think he's got it.
No containment on that play, Jim. Thomas rolled out and he had the whole right side.
Well, East Brunswick's defense was so intent on rushing.
He's short, Jim.
Yeah, it does appear that way.
Now a major call for the Stevens coaching staff. And they look like they're going to go for it. It's going to be 4th and about a yard on the East Brunswick 44. We've just started the third quarter. Stevens trails 20-19, and here they go for a 4th and 1. Thomas keeps the ball, and he drops it.
Did he drop it?
He fumbled the ball.
Regardless,
and East Brunswick's recovered.
He fumbled that ball behind the line of scrimmage, so he recovered it.
Paul Lynch in there to stop Thomas and cause the fumble. So the East Brunswick defense holds, and they go on offense.
Okay, they rose to the occasion nicely there.
The ball is knocked loose, and East Brunswick's got it. And here they go on their own 44, 1st and 10.
This is where Steve Hughes will earn his keep.
We'll see what they do. Siliberti in motion left. A pitch to Rowe. Rowe sidesteps a tackler, cannot get any blocking, and is dropped. He's dropped for a loss of about 2 yards.
You see what momentum can do for you, John? You know, Stevens was stopped there, but they seem to have a lot more confidence this time. And I think if East Brunswick is going to have some success, they have to put the ball in the air.
2nd and 11 for East Brunswick on their own 44. Hughes has Pilato and Flanagan wide right. He's looking to pass the ball. He's got a man in the middle, and the ball's intercepted by Johnson, number 22, picks off a used pass. He's still on his feet, and is taken down on East Brunswick, in East Brunswick territory around the 48-yard line.
Sure.
So a big turnover.
Yeah, it's a big turnover at this point. Hughes was just a little high on that pass.
Just overthrew Flanagan. By the way, Jimmy, I noticed Flanagan was double covered, so it looks as though Stevens has made some adjustments.
Right, and it appears as though Hughes is going to have to throw to his other receivers.
All right, so Stevens comes out, having gotten an interception. The ball on the East Brunswick 48, 1st and 10. There's Grubbs right up the middle. A quick opener, and he picks up about 4 yards.
That was right over the center that time. Looking at Rushneck right now, he seems a little wearied. You wonder if that hamstring is bothering him.
Second down and 4 for Stevens. Pickup of 6 by Grubbs. The ball is on East Brunswick 42.
Sorry, John, you notice that East Brunswick only has 2 defensive backs back there. They're all right up on the line.
Thomas calling signals. Pitches in. Booth again is not aware the ball's coming, and he's down. That's going to be a big loss. Jimmy, that's the second time Booth did not expect the ball.
Yeah, you know, John, you wonder if being out for a month, such as what George Booth was, I don't think we talked about too much. He had a concussion and a shoulder separation. And I'm wondering if his timing is just a little bit off with that, disruption in the season.
Well, it could be, Jimmy. That's the second time he is just not even looking for the ball. Brings up a big third down play now for Stevens. It's 3rd and 7. The ball has been moved back to the Stevens 47-yard line, and Thomas goes into a shotgun position. Here's the snap. Thomas drops back, looks right, puts the ball up deep. He's got a man wide open. Booth! Nice effort. Greg Booth on a fine effort. The ball is over his wrong shoulder, as they say.
And I just heard a big sigh from the East Brunswick side there. Booth was wide open. And
Booth was wide open.
I think it was Herbst that was caught right there on a quick move by George.
So East Brunswick catches a break, and now Stevens will be forced to punt with 7 minutes and 14 seconds left here in the third period.
So East Brunswick dodges a bullet.
Derek Rowe is back deep for East Brunswick. Here's the snap. It's a good one. Good high kick. Rowe calls a fair catch at about the 13-yard line. So East Brunswick will be deep in its own territory with its second possession here of the second half.
Naturally, John, East Brunswick has to be very careful that they do not turn the ball over. That's not to say that Hughes will not put the ball up in the air, but again, he's already had 1 intercepted right here, and he does not want to give the ball to Stevens in this part of the field.
All right, East Brunswick 1st and 10 on their own 14. They lead 20-19. That's Flanagan in motion. A pitch to Rowe. Off the right side, Rowe has a hole. And Rowe is up close to the 20.
Nice yards.
So a pickup of close to 6 yards for Derek Rowe.
Okay, that 6-yard pickup allows East Brunswick to do things a little bit differently on the second down play that they couldn't if they had a short game. So I think they're going to keep it on the ground here so they can pick up at least this first down. 2nd
and 4 for East Brunswick. Hughes has Pilato and Flanagan wide left. Another handoff to Rowe, and Rowe is stopped right at the line. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 4 situation.
John, you sense a change in the confidence of the teams, East Brunswick being more tentative and Stevens being more deliberate?
I'm surprised, Jimmy. I thought East Brunswick would come out throwing the ball. Hughes threw an interception their first possession of this half. And now they seem to be content to keep the ball on the ground. It's 3rd and 4 now, and I think we'll see Hughes throw a pass. East Brunswick's on their own 18. Hughes takes the snap, looks to throw. Looking for Flanagan. He's got Pazinko at the 20. 25, and Pazinko brings it close to the 35-yard line. That'll be an East Brunswick first down.
You know, it seems that every time East Brunswick needs a crucial catch, they either go to Flanagan or Glenn Pazinko out of the backfield. And simply what they did there was just bring Flanagan and Pazinko to the same side of the field, and one of them was open.
I agree with you, Jimmy. I think East Brunswick's going to have to go to some of their alternative receivers. They've double covered Flanagan. All right, Steve Hughes with East Brunswick first down. Spins, looks to throw again, drops. He's got plenty of time. Looking for Rushnack and right off his arms. Rushnack unable to hold the ball. And it'll bring up a 2nd and 10 at the East Brunswick 35.
That was interesting. I saw Johnson on a safety blitz that time, looking for an opening, and it was a well-conceived play on Stevens' part.
Stevens, as we said, has made some defensive adjustments. Seems to be playing a better defensive game in the secondary anyway.
They're playing with more confidence.
All right, Hughes fakes the pitch, gives an inside handoff to Pazinko. And Glenn may pick up 2 if he's lucky. They were all over him. Brings up another 3rd down situation for East Brunswick. They lead 20-19 with about 5 minutes and 20 seconds to go here in the 3rd period. Jimmy, the weather's changing, and I don't know if this is going to have an effect on the players, but the hands get cold, and we could see some effect later on in the game.
I believe you might be right there.
All right, 3rd and 10 for East Brunswick. Hughes looks to pass. He's got Flanagan wide open in the middle, and he fumbles the ball, and Stevens recovers. Barry Flanagan, who is generally short-handed, was stripped of the ball after a fine reception, and Stevens will get the ball at the East Brunswick, or rather at their own 46-yard line. So a second mistake of this second half, Jim.
Well, I don't know if it was a mistake. Probably was. Flanagan was looking to make some yards upfield. He's an excellent runner, and Stevens' tackler just grabbed his arms and stripped him of the ball. Now East Brunswick's defense will have to respond again.
Stevens has the ball on their own 47, 1st and 10. It's 20-19, East Brunswick's favor. That's Green in motion, coming left. Thomas hands off to Booth, deep in the backfield. Booth hit at the line of scrimmage, spins, and picks up about 3 yards. Great individual effort.
Right, he was caught there just around the line of scrimmage and kept on twisting and turning and got a couple extra yards.
Jimmy, I get the feeling that the East Brunswick defense is a little tired, or they're a little sluggish anyway at this point. And it'll remain to be seen if Stevens can take advantage of it.
Right, well, they're facing a very quick backfield, with Grubbs and Booth back there, Thomas at quarterback.
All right, Thomas with a 2nd and 7 on his own 49. Looks to pass, drops deep. Looking over the middle. He's going to be taken down for a loss. Fine defensive play.
There you go, there's Paul Lynch again, Van Bovitz.
And Mike Mostowski, I think he blitzed from his cornerback position to catch Thomas. That's a big loss.
It was needed, no doubt about it.
That's going to put Stevens in a 3rd and 15 situation. I would think a short pass here, Jim.
Yeah,
Stevens
although you know,
43.
You know what they can do with those running backs.
Shotgun formation for Stevens. Thomas looking to throw the ball. Sets up, he's got a man in the middle, wide open. Just overthrows him.
There was a mix-up there with Pilato and Herbst. They seemed to bump with each other, and that created a momentarily opening for Stevens. The pass was just not on target.
Johnson was wide open, Jimmy. If he caught that ball on stride, he was gone. So East Brunswick dodges another bullet, as Stevens will have to punt. Derek Rowe back deep. Green has shown us a good foot here in terms of punting for Stevens.
Right, that last one was against the wind.
Green will punt for the Hawks. Here's the snap. High kick. And East Brunswick will let the ball bound at about the 36-yard line of East Brunswick. So we've got a very fast-paced 3rd quarter. We're around 2 minutes and 30 seconds. East Brunswick will have the ball again. They've been stopped twice on 2 possessions.
I think Hughes is going to still go to the air here. He's not going to let a couple of miscues discourage him.
Well, that's how they got here, Jimmy, and I don't think we're going to see anything different. Hughes looks to pass, drops back, looking for an open receiver. He's got Andy Wernberg open, and Andy fights for a 1st down.
No, I think he's short.
We'll see where they spot the ball.
It's about a 6 or 7 yard pickup, John.
Okay, I'm having a difficult time reading the yard markers across the field with the sun.
It's so cold up here. Your eyes are watering, and Hands are cold.
All right, East Brunswick with the ball on their 41, 2nd and 4. They're leading 20-19. Here comes Derek Rowe off his right side, big hole.
That was an excellent call, John. I think Stevens was looking for the pass there.
And Rowe picks up the first down.
I think East Brunswick, to cushion this lead, is going to have to go with the things that they do best, and that's doing the running, passing, nice balance.
Okay, Steve Hughes, quick drop, looks for Flanagan over on the left side. He's got him. Flanagan makes the reception for a short gain. They'll give him 2 yards on the pickup.
That was a rather suspect mark. I think Barry had at least 2 more yards than that.
In fact, it shows as no gain. That's hard to believe. I'm sorry, 2-yard gain. And East Brunswick will have the ball on the Stevens 48 with a 2nd and 8. Inside handoff. Pazinko. I'm sorry, Wernberg.
How did you know? There he is.
And Wernberg picks up maybe a yard.
You know, with Baskowski and Waringberg being both juniors, I think East Brunswick's running backs are going to be set for next year.
I agree, Jim. 3rd down and 7 for East Brunswick. The ball on is Stevens 47. Hughes looks to throw, drops back. Over to the right side, he's got Flanagan. Flanagan makes the reception at the Stevens 35-yard line. That ball's on the money.
Yes. You know, Barry had 5 catches the first half. He already has 3 this half. That gives him 8. You know, he set the record of 12 last year. We're going to keep a tab on that.
All right, so East Brunswick picks up a first down with about 45 seconds to go here in the 3rd period.
Hughes is 4 for 6 in this half.
Flanagan and Pilato out wide left. Handoff to Wernberg, who picks up maybe a yard. Jimmy, I wonder what happened to Pazinko.
Yeah, I see him here on the sidelines right now. It doesn't appear that anything is wrong with him. It might be that Borden is just keeping him on defense. Or that ankle could be bothering him.
Well, East Brunswick has a 2nd and 9 as Wernberg picks up a yard. The ball on the Stevens 34-yard line. Hughes puts Siliberti wide left. Calling the signals. Hands off to Andy Wernberg again. Big hole off the left side. Wernberg fights down to the 20-yard line. First down, East Brunswick.
What a great run by Andy Wernberg. You know, he hasn't been a starter this year, but he has had a lot of playing time. This has obviously given him a lot of confidence, and he's doing the job for East Brunswick now.
And he's a junior, and that's the end of the 3rd period. As East Brunswick leading 20-19 over J.P. Stevens. This is it. We go into the 4th quarter of the Central Jersey Group 4 State Championship.
And a vocal crowd here, huh? What a way to end the season.
The fans are up on their feet. They're cheering. This is it. The last 12 minutes of the season.
You know, John, this is not going to be the end of wins for East Brunswick sports-wise. You know, they have a really great basketball team coming up. They're going to open up on the road against Cedar Ridge on the 14th. And then on the 17th, they're going to have their first home game against Woodbridge. Derek Rowe is going to be one of the players. I know Jeff Angelski is a returning player. Jeff Weiss, Mark Dobrinsky, Keith Mataseski, Tom Duronsky. And I think a newcomer, Greg Berlin, is somebody that Frank Knoppenberger, who is the receivers coach here, also the head basketball coach,
Jimmy, this has been East Brunswick's year in terms of at least fall sports. The boys and the girls soccer teams had outstanding seasons, both county champs. We'll get back to that in a little while. Hughes leading East Brunswick offense. It's first down. Here's Wernberg over the right side, and he picks up a couple.
Sure. Yeah, I see Pazinko down on the sidelines. He seems to be limping a little bit.
All right, East Brunswick will have a 2nd down and about 6 to go. Okay. The ball on the Stevens 17-yard line.
Exciting game, isn't it?
This is what it's all about. Here we go. Hughes has Flanagan wide left, Siliberti wide right. He hands off to Rowe inside. Derek picks up about a yard on the play.
I think East Brunswick wants to do it on the ground if they can. If you notice, the sun is shining towards that way, and as the receivers turn to look at Hughes, they're going to be staring at that sun.
crowd's
really
getting
does
into
have an effect. Really does have an effect.
The crowd's getting into the game. It's 20-19, East Brunswick's favor, but they're threatening here. It's 3rd down and 5 on the Stevens 15-yard line, and you know Marcus Borden wants this one. Hughes, short drop, looks for Flanagan into the sun, and Flanagan is not able to handle it. The ball was slightly underthrown, Jim.
It was. I think Barry was also looking to the outside, and Hughes kind of fired it in towards the inside. He had to make a quick change, and it just didn't have enough time. Okay, you got a key situation here, don't you?
We have an official's timeout for an equipment change by one of the Stevens players. And so with 10 minutes and 53 seconds left in the game, East Brunswick is on top 20-19. They'll be facing a 4th down and 5 to go on the Stevens 15. This will be an interesting call. Flanagan and Pilato wide left. Hughes on a quick screen out to Pilato, but he doesn't have a blocker out there. And East Brunswick will lose yardage and turn the ball over to Stevens.
Pilato had made the catch there, but I think Barry Flanagan found himself facing about 3 Stevens people, and could only manage to take out one.
Well defense that time by Stevens.
So we're going to have a key situation here. I think if East Brunswick can stop Stevens right here, force them to kick, I think they can be back in position to try to score again.
Okay, J.P. Stevens takes over the ball on their own 15-yard line, 1st and 10. They trail 20-19. Thomas calling the signals. Hands off to Booth. It's a reverse inside to Johnson. Quick action play, Jimmy. It's hard to pick up.
He's extremely fast, Johnson. You know, you haven't heard too much about him as far as the offensive exploits this year, but he was dancing in there. And,
Johnson picks up about 5 yards. So Stevens starts out with a little razzle. Their first possession in the 4th quarter. Ball has been spotted on the 22-yard line, where it'll be 2nd and 5. Stevens with looks like a full eye backfield. Booth pitched left. He's got some running room. He breaks one. Breaks one tackle and is out. Close to the 36-yard line. We'll see where they spot it.
That was Kenny Pruss, the quarterback that came up to make that tackle. If he had not done the job, I think Booth would have been off to the races again.
We have an official timeout. I think they want to check the chains on this to see if, in fact, it was a 1st down.
They've given it to him.
And it is a 1st down for Stevens on their own 35.
Oh, somebody's down for East Brunswick.
No, it's a Stevens player, Jim.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's official timeout as a Stevens player is being attended to on the sideline.
Is that Booth?
You could be right. It may be Booth. And that would be a devastating blow to the Stevens offense. It appears to be Greg Booth, but let's wait and see.
Yeah, it is, and they're working on his left ankle. You know, it could be a cramp, too.
All right, so we have an official timeout as they're working on Greg Booth near the Stevens sideline. Jimmy, we started to say that the East Brunswick fall sports season has been outstanding, and not to make light of the fact that George Booth is hurt, it's a good time to bring in the fact that the boys gymnastics team were state champs again. The girls gymnastics team had another outstanding season, finished 2nd in the conference. We mentioned the boys and girls soccer team. That was truly outstanding. The boys losing in a tough final to Kearney. The girls also losing in the state finals to Ewing. Fine jobs by both Lou Cosa and Dan Hastings, as well as Don Weider and Leslie Gatner for gymnastics. All right, George Booth brings the team up on the Stevens 35-yard line. It's 1st and 10. Inside handoff to Grubbs. Grubbs fights his way for a yard.
And that was Robert Thomas, the quarterback. I don't think George Booth is in there.
I think you're right, Jim. I think Booth is out of the game at this point. And again, as we said, that will hurt the Stevens offense. Booth has scored 3 touchdowns this afternoon, including a scintillating 97-yard run with 25 seconds before half. Thomas goes into shotgun formation, 2nd and 8 on the Stevens 37-yard line. Here's the snap. Thomas looking to pass. He's got a man in the middle. 2 receivers and a nice catch by number 85, Ben Green.
That was a fantastic play. Pilato is down.
He may have gotten the wind knocked out of him. Let's hope that's all it is. Tony Pilato is down, and we have an official timeout.
We didn't think that Stevens had a throwing game like this, did we?
Well, if you remember, Jimmy, in the first game, Stevens came out throwing the ball, and Thomas was quite successful. East Brunswick then made some adjustments, and Stevens was not able to pass successfully for the remainder of that game.
Right, I see George Booth now is on the sidelines getting ready to go back in for J.P. Stevens.
Tony Pilato is down. He's being attended to by Phil Hostler, the trainer, and we do hope that Tony is all right. Tony's coming back from a knee injury, suffered in fact in that Stevens game.
Right.
Tony has been a pleasant surprise and one of the outstanding seniors on this East Brunswick High School team. Jimmy, let me ask you something. We have 8 minutes and 28 seconds to go before the end of the game. 1 point lead for East Brunswick. What do you think's going through Marcus Borden's mind in terms of his offense and his defense?
Right. I think Marcus wants to somehow inject the confidence that East Brunswick has had all year into this point of the game.
Jimmy, let me interrupt you. Tony Pilato is up, and that just shows you what kind of kid this senior is. He's a tough, hard-nosed football player, and I'm sure we'll see more of him as the game progresses.
Right. Okay, so East Brunswick definitely is going to have to try to get back that confidence that they had.
1st and 10 for Stephen, right on the 50-yard line. They trail 20-19. Thomas calling signals. He's got, I think Booth is back in there, and he is. Booth is going to throw the ball on a halfback option. He's got a man open and underthrows the pass.
I'm doing a little observing here as the play-by-play is going on. Stevens was able to get 2 players behind the East Brunswick secondary, and I don't know what East Brunswick can do at this point. It seems to me that with the win to Stevens' back, they're going to try to throw long. They're just going to have to stay behind these receivers.
All right, incomplete pass brings up a 2nd and 10 for Stevens. Thomas goes in shotgun formation. And will look to throw the ball up. He's got a man open here on the sideline. It's Booth. Booth catches the ball, drops it, and it's ruled incomplete.
That's fortunate for East Brunswick, John.
Thomas is having his way back there in terms of time.
He is. He's getting a lot of time to throw.
And he has a fine arm.
I have to think this is Stevens' best showing this year. They are really playing a confident game. They've opened it up. East Brunswick is having all it can do to stop them.
Jimmy, it looks as though Stevens has made an abrupt decision to go to a passing game. That's the 3rd consecutive pass they've thrown. They're now in a 3rd and 10 situation, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Thomas throw again. And just that, he moves into the shotgun formation. Here we go. Thomas looking to pass. It looks like a screen on the left side. It's Booth. He's got some blockers. He's got a 1st down and more. Booth is limping a little bit as he struggles down inside the 20.
Big play.
Well set up screen by J.P. Stevens on the left side. And Greg Booth, who's done everything you can expect of a football player today. George Booth, I'm sorry. Brings the ball inside the East Brunswick 20. And now defense has got their back against the wall for the Bears.
And let me tell you something else. With this win at its back, Stevens is not out of a field goal possibility here either.
Well, they got a 1st and 10 on the East Brunswick 19-yard line. There's 7 minutes and 40 seconds left in this game. We're going to see the character of the East Brunswick defense right here, Jimmy. Thomas brings out the Hawks. Man in motion right. It's a pitch. Booth limping slightly, but is still in the game and takes a hard hit. And a flag is down on the play. Jimmy, Booth is limping noticeably, and yet he's still in there.
Well, I think at this point you try to put pain aside if you can and go with sheer determination. I think George Booth is demonstrating this today. There is a injured Stevens player down on the field.
We have a Stevens player down as well as a flag.
I think it was a motion penalty against Stevens, which East Brunswick will decline.
Let's see what the official call is.
Legal procedure.
It's a legal procedure declined by East Brunswick, and that'll bring up a second down and 10.
John,
Stevens with the ball on the 20.
We talked about the winter program for East Brunswick, the wrestling program, which is certainly a source of pride for East Brunswick. You know that Greg DeMarco was earlier named the head coach. I talked to Greg the other day, and he tells me that he has just been able to get Jimmy Young, a former East Brunswick high school star, as his assistant coach. And I use that word advisedly because the way DeMarco runs things, he almost has Jimmy as an associate head coach. In fact, Jimmy is probably going to be doing most of the hands-on instruction with the team. And Greg, who is an excellent organizer, handles the practices and all the coordination that goes along with that, will be handling those duties. So it's going to be a welcome addition to the East Brunswick wrestling program.
I agree with you, Jimmy. I think wrestling, which is a mainstay here at East Brunswick, can only benefit from the guidance and wisdom of a Greg DeMarco and a Jimmy Young. And we look forward to an outstanding season by that team. And we'd like to take that moment to boost Channel 8 and Sports Talk by saying that we hope our audience will tune in during the winter as we preview all the winter sports, as we've done in the past, and we'll be sure to be talking with Greg and Jimmy, as well as Frank Knoppenberger and some of the other coaches of the winter sports. Number 88 for the Stevens team is up and walking off the field. Unfortunately, we're not able to identify the player by name, but we're glad to see he's walking. Just to set the tone for you on the stage, it's 7 minutes and 13 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Stevens has the ball on the East Brunswick 20, second and 10. They trail 20-19. Thomas looking to pass. Thrown deep in the end zone. He's got Johnson. Johnson makes the catch. It's a touchdown. A beautiful catch.
Johnson's speed was able to enable him to catch up with the ball. Again, Stevens was able to get behind the East Brunswick secondary. Well-conceived play. And what do we have here? 7 minutes left to go. East Brunswick has its back up against the wall.
And Stevens has taken the lead for the first time this afternoon on a touchdown pass from Robert Thompson to Troy Johnson, covering 20 yards.
Stevens calls timeout.
This is an important play right here, Jimmy, whether they go for the extra point or the two.
Looks like the scoreboard has not registered. There it is.
It's 25-20, Stevens. We're looking at Marcus Borden now, and you know he's got to be upset, quite honestly.
Well, I think more than upset right now, John. I think he is going to try to get his team settled down. You know, you've got a quarterback with like Hughes there. You can see Steve is pacing along the sidelines there. And, I mean, they just know what they have to do.
As we've said before during the opening and throughout the first half, this is for the Central Jersey Group 4 State Championship. There are no tomorrows, there are no next weeks. This is it. If East Brunswick wants to maintain their unbeaten season, they now trail 25-20. There are 6 minutes and 56 seconds left before the end of the game. And Stevens is going to go for 2 points. Here we go. J.P. Stevens going for the 2. Thomas has a man in motion right. There's a pitch to Booth. Booth, and he's in. 2 points for J.P. Stevens, and they go up on top, 27-20.
That was straight guts running, John.
That's just power football, Jim. Over the right side, as we've talked about before.
Right, we don't like to look ahead here now, but the scoreboard only shows 26-20. It is 27-20. And we don't want to look ahead here, but if East Brunswick scores, they will be faced with whether or not they're going to go for 2 points. And knowing Marcus Borden, he would go.
I think you have to, Jimmy. This is, a state championship game. The pride at stake. A tie does nothing for East Brunswick. You go for it. All right, the crowd is getting up for East Brunswick. They know they're behind. They've got to get them going, get some excitement. They've got to play some offense here. Stevens will kick off. East Brunswick trails for the first time this afternoon, 27-20. Derek Rowe, Andy Wernberg, and Mike Pistaski are deep. Here's the kick. It's going to be taken by Rowe at about the 11-yard line. Rowe up the middle, and he'll get back to about the 30. East Brunswick will go on offense with about 6 minutes and 40 seconds left.
Right, and that wind is as stiff as it was at the beginning of the game. Certainly enough time left, John, for East Brunswick to not have to go to the long bombs. I think they will have more success if they try to just make up chunks of yards as they go along behind the arm of Hughes.
All right, Steve Hughes, 1st and 10 for East Brunswick. He looks to pass. He's got Flanagan. First down.
There you go.
You go to your bread and butter.
That's the one. 10 yards. Right over the first yard marker.
First down, East Brunswick on their own 41-yard line. 6 minutes, 25 seconds left in the game. They trail 27-20. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. The crowd is up. The team is up. Steve Hughes, hands off to Glenn Pazinko. Glenn will pick up maybe 2. This is an important drive.
That's an understatement.
They don't want to give the ball back to Stevens without some kind of point.
Certainly they want to drive down far enough so that even if they do not get into the end zone, they'll have Stevens deep in their own territory.
Okay, 2nd and 8 for East Brunswick on their own 42. Hughes looking to pass. He's got some time. Throws the ball up and across. Pazinko comes down with it.
Beautiful catch.
First down again.
And you notice Pazinko is back in there.
He was in a crowd, Jimmy.
He was. I think he is shrugging off this ankle injury.
At this point, you don't feel the pain. You don't feel the hurt.
That's exactly right.
5 minutes and 30 seconds to go. East Brunswick on the move. They have the ball on the Stevens 44-yard line. 1st and 10. Hughes hands off to Rowe. Rowe looking for a hole, and he's going to be dropped for about a yard loss. Just nothing there, Jim.
No, it appears as if East Brunswick is going to have success. They're going to have to do it through the air here. Stevens has proven today that they have won the battle in the offensive and offensive line, certainly.
Jimmy, thus far it's been the Greg Booth show. George, I don't know why I'd call him Greg, but he's done it all for Stevens, and now he's playing defense as East Brunswick comes out. Ball on the 44. 2nd and 10. Hughes looking to pass. He's being rushed. He lays it up there. What a catch! Mike Curcio. Mike Curcio, that ball was hung up there, and Mike just went in and made a sensational catch to keep this drive alive. Jimmy, if East Brunswick wins the game, we'll have to look back to that catch.
Right, and look at Pazinko is limping off the side now. He's re-injured the ankle.
4:26 left in this game. East Brunswick trails 27-20. They got the ball on the Stevens 27-yard line. 1st and 10. Hughes on the draw play to Rowe. Rowe trying to get outside and fights his way for a pickup of about 3 yards. And the clock is running. Second and 6. Rowe picked up 4 on the draw play. Hughes looking to pass. He's got Rowe. Does he catch it? Yes, he does! Between 2 Stevens defenders. Jimmy, I don't know how he caught the ball.
I don't know either. I think Stevens had that play diagnosed, but it's just a matter of the ball just getting there just in time, just in front of the Stevens defender.
And an official's timeout call. There's a Stevens player down. Derek Rowe, between 2 Stevens defenders, picks up the ball. How, I don't know, but keeps the drive alive and moves the ball down to the Stevens 14. It'll be 1st and 10. There are 3 minutes and 43 seconds left. Jimmy, this is going to be a thriller right down to the wire.
Yeah, not quite expected, but nonetheless, something that I think the fans are enjoying. fitting way to end this 1984 season. There's really not much more that we have to say. We can just let the picture do the talking for us here.
I'll tell you, the fans got their money's worth, if nothing else.
That was a first down, wasn't it?
It was a first down. It'll give the ball to East Brunswick on the Stevens 14. There's an official timeout as they're tending to, I thought, a Stevens player, but it may be an East Brunswick player.
You know, that could be Flanagan. I can't pick him up.
We're obscured by the East Brunswick huddle on the field.
I'm scanning the huddle. I see Barry Flanagan there, so it can't be him. Oh, it's a Stevens player, number 65. That would be James Horvath.
Jimmy, I don't know about you, but my palms are sweating.
And it's cold.
It's cold. All right, Jim Horvath is up, and that's always a good sign. To set the stage for you, 3 minutes and 43 seconds left in the game. East Brunswick has the ball on the Stevens 14-yard line. It's 1st and 10. They trail 27-20. Steve Hughes hands off in the backfield to, I think, Andy Wernberg, and he's dropped for a loss. Yes, it was Wernberg.
Stevens again getting good penetration. I think that East Brunswick was just trying to try out the line again one more time. You know they're going to go to the pass here.
We've got Flanagan and Curcio wide right. It's 2nd and about 8. He's looking for Flanagan on the sideline. He's got the ball inside the 10. Excellent catch by Barry Flanagan.
You know, I'm not even keeping stats anymore. This is such an exciting game, but you know, Flanagan has been catching pass after pass during this drive. He only needed a few more to surpass his single game record of 12.
Jimmy, that brings it down to a 3rd and 3 on the Stevens 7-yard line.
Right, 2 down territory for sure.
For sure. East Brunswick's trailing. 3 minutes and 9 seconds left to go in the game. There we go. East Brunswick puts Flanagan wide left, inside handoff to Wernberg. We don't know if he's got the first down. We'll wait for the official call.
Very close.
It appears to be a 4th and maybe a foot, less than that. And they've called for a timeout. I think they're going to measure. East Brunswick's called timeout. I'm sorry.
Here comes Pazinko again. My Lord, he was limping off the field before. Comes back on. They must have done a quick tape job on him. What do you call a situation like this, John? You got a 4th and 1. The entire year is on the line. East Brunswick has not been having good success going to the center of the line. Hughes, you have to think, is a possibility on the quarterback sneak, although that's a very chancy thing. Marcus Gordon just has one difficult call to make right here.
Jimmy, I'm glad I'm up here, not down there, having to make that choice. But you're right. This is the season right here. It's 4th down. 1 yard to go. The ball is on the Stevens 5-yard line. There's 2 minutes and 56 seconds left in the game. If East Brunswick doesn't make it, they give the ball up to Stevens, and quite possibly they give up the state championship Group 4.
Yeah, they used a timeout here. I don't have any unofficial word on how many timeouts they have left. Well, here we go.
I hate to use the cliche, but this is for all the marbles right here. You hate to think that a season comes down to one play, but it usually does, and this is it for East Brunswick. Here we go, 4th and 1 on the 5. Steve Hughes brings him out. He hands off. It's Derek Rowe. Rowe is near the goal line. He's got the first down.
Right, and he's out of bounds, too. That stops the clock.
Stops the clock. Derek Rowe may have saved East Brunswick's season right here. It's 1st and goal on the 2-yard line.
I'm watching the East Brunswick sidelines here. The players are all excited. Fans are all up on their feet.
Derek Rowe never made a more important run than that, Jim. Here we go. First down on the 2-yard line. East Brunswick. That's Pazinko. He's in close, but I think he's short. Maybe to the 1. There's not much room down there.
This is what high school football is all about.
This is what any football game is all about.
I don't think the clock is going to be a factor right here. There's 2.5 minutes left. East Brunswick can just take its time. They've got 3 shots at the 1-yard line. They do not want to turn the ball over, of course.
All right, Steve Hughes brings out the offense. They're on the 1-yard line. Second down. Hughes to Pazinko. He's in! It's a touchdown, Blaine Pazinko! And East Brunswick's 1 point away from tying it. Is that Pazinko? That's Pazinko. That crowd's going nuts.
Timeout again, timeout. Another important decision.
Timeout, here's a decision. What do you do? Go for 2 for the lead, or you tie?
I know what I would do.
I go for the win.
You got it. We speculated before this drive that Gordon would go for the 2 points. You know he's going to right now. 2 minutes, 16 seconds left. East Brunswick is behind by 1 point. And again, here we go. The season's on the line.
Jimmy, there hasn't been one person to leave this stadium. They haven't sat down since East Brunswick got the ball with over 6 minutes to go in this period. This crowd is anxious, excited. This is it. 2 minutes and 16 seconds left in the ball game. East Brunswick is trailing by 1, 27-26. East Brunswick has called a timeout, and Marcus Borden is now going to decide whether they go for the extra point to tie or they go for the 2 to win.
John, I'm sorry in all the excitement, we didn't have a chance to talk about the East Brunswick offense. We're going to have to let that go. All the records.
Here we go. They're going for 2. Steve Hughes brings him out. The ball's on the 2. He rolls right. He's looking. Derek Rose wide open, and he couldn't see it. In the sun, he lost it.
That's unfortunate.
Derek Rowe lost the ball in the sun. Never saw it. Went right by him. The Stevens players are all over the field, but there's still 2 minutes and 16 seconds left.
You know, I think East Brunswick may have 1 timeout left, and I'm not sure that's going to be enough.
They've got to play defense here and get that ball back. Derek Rowe on a pass from Steve Hughes just did not see it, quite honestly. The sun was in his eyes. The ball went right by him. Unfortunate. And now East Brunswick will see if they can get the ball back. 2 minutes, 16 seconds left. They'll kick off to Stevens. What a heartbreak, Jimmy.
Well, it's a heartbreak situation. If East Brunswick does not win this game, it's going to be quite a disappointment for the team, the coach. But I think after a couple of days of reflection, they're going to look back and just say, what a great season this was.
That's right. 1 play, 1 game does not minimize what East Brunswick has done this year. They're undefeated. They won the county championship, got to the finals of the states for the first time in their history. This is not going to minimize anything that's happened in the '84 season. Ted Pazinko will kick off for East Brunswick.
Onside kick, what do you think?
It could be. And it is. It's got to go 10 yards. The ball is out of bounds. And it brings the ball, I believe, to the 40-yard line. That's the rule in high school football.
Or else Stevens can have the option of electing to take the ball where it went out of bounds, in this case on the East Brunswick 48.
And that's what they'll do, Jim. Stevens will take over the ball with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left. The ball is on the East Brunswick 46-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 Stevens. East Brunswick is, frankly, they've got to stop him here. Thomas with a full house backfield. I believe this ball is going to stay on the ground. Hand off to Booth. Who else? Booth is taken down for a pickup of about 3 yards. It'll bring 2nd down. The clock is running.
Again, we don't know what the timeout situation is. East Brunswick, if they do have any left, are probably going to conserve it to the either the 3rd down. Hope maybe that Stevens throws the ball and it's incomplete. That's what I have to think is happening here.
All right, we're at 1 minute and 45 seconds to go. Stevens has the ball. They lead 27-26. It's on the East Brunswick 45-yard line. This is it. 2nd down and about 7 for Stevens. Hand off to Booth. Booth has nowhere to go, and East Brunswick drops him for a loss back to the original line of scrimmage. 1 minute and 26 seconds left. The clock is running.
There we go.
And we have a timeout.
Okay, East Brunswick calls its last timeout.
I would think it's its last timeout, Jim. You're right. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 10.
I just
for
saw the referee wave his hands, probably in answer to a question by Spadafino, the assistant coach, as to how many timeouts are remaining. It does look a little bleak for East Brunswick at this point, does it not, John?
I would think maybe the only chance they have is a miracle. And with this timeout, I would like to thank a few people who made this telecast possible. I'd like to thank the New Jersey State Interscholastic Athletic Association for allowing Channel 8 to be here this afternoon. Charlie King, the East Brunswick High School Athletic Director, Coach Borden and his staff, Kevin O'Rourke, our Executive Director at Channel 8, as well as our camera crew, Pete Canamessa and Dave Ambrosi. And a special thanks goes to Jimmy Allinder. All right, here we go, 1 minute and 23 seconds left. The ball is on the East Brunswick 47. 3rd and 10 for Stevens. East Brunswick has no more timeouts. They trail. Thomas keeps the ball. He's going to run with it. And he's taken down. It's going to be 4th down. East Brunswick has no timeouts. And you know Stevens is going to take the time now.
Yes, they will. Well, conceivably, let's see, when the referee marks the ball, that's 30 seconds. They could run off it down to about 35 seconds.
We're under a minute.
And I would think that if I was Stevens' coach, I'd just let the clock run and take a 5-yard penalty.
And they just may do that. The Stevens players are just mulling around in the huddle. No formal huddle has been called. They're letting the clock run down. East Brunswick is awaiting a punt. Derek Rowe is back deep. They'll get the ball with about 30 seconds left.
That's 39 on the clock.
39 seconds. And Stevens elects to take the penalty for the delay of game. It'll move the ball back to their own 47-yard line.
Well, John, at least East Brunswick is going to get another shot at the ball, you would think, unless Stevens decides to do a fake punt, which I think would not be in order here. But Rowe is back deep here.
Green will punt for Stevens. He's been punting outstanding today. 39 seconds on the clock.
East Brunswick will be going in and try to block.
Here they come. The punt is up. Short of bounds. Derek Rowe lets it go. It's down at 15 and recovers. And the ball has been marked dead at about the 15-yard line with 31 seconds left. This is East Brunswick's last chance. They trail 27-26. The ball's on their own 15. Yardage and time doesn't matter.
We will see a prevent defense here. Already Booth is on the right side, flanked way wide. You got Green, flanked left. You got Troy Johnson in the middle.
East Brunswick has got to go outside.
Clock is running too.
14 seconds to go. Hughes looking to pass. Throws it over the middle. And he's intercepted. And who else? George Booth intercepts. And that's the ball game, Jimmy, quite honestly.
Yep, that'll do it. It's just a matter of Stevens just running out the clock. They're a very, very happy ball club. The fans are very excited on the side there, and who can blame them, right?
They played a fine game. No doubt about it. They came back, they were down 20-7 at one point. They took the lead. And you have to look at one guy on that Stevens team, and that's George Booth. And that's it, it's official. J.P. Stevens wins the Group 4 Central Jersey State Championship. They've defeated East Brunswick 27-26 in a thrilling high school football game. And the East Brunswick crowd, ladies and gentlemen, are standing and cheering their team, as well as the Stevens. They saw an outstanding ball game. Jimmy, it was everything we kind of thought it would be.
Yeah, it was. It was a great way to end the season. You know East Brunswick is going to be back next year. Of course, the 24 seniors will be gone. People like Steve Hughes, Glenn Pazinko, Derek Rowe. We can go right down the line, just talk about all the defensive players like, the offensive line, Seth Goldberg, Seth Carlin, Mike Steinberg, the center, and Tony Ferrandino, Paul Lynch, all going to be missed. And I'd have to say that this is probably the best East Brunswick team that has ever played.
I would agree, Jim. Well, I've been watching them for about 18 years now, And in terms of depth, in terms of offense and defense, it was an outstanding team. As we said just a few minutes ago, this does not in any way minimize their season. I know it's a disappointment, but when you think about what this team has achieved, what Marcus Borden and his staff has accomplished, to say one game ruined the season, I think would be in poor taste.
Right. I'm just watching the players on the sidelines. They're very disappointed right now, no doubt about it.
You see Marcus Borden in the middle with his team. He's calling them together. I know it's going to be difficult. We hope to be down in the Bears locker room after this game and talk with Marcus and his staff and some of the players. Again, that's if Marcus is up to it and the players are as well up to it. The final, J.P. Stevens 27, East Brunswick 26. What more can you say? It was a game of all games in terms of a state championship. East Brunswick had a heartbreak miss with Derek Rowe wide open in the end zone, unable to see the two-point conversion, and that's how the game ended, quite honestly. The Stevens players carrying their coach off. What can you say about him? George Booth, it was his day. He made the difference, and a tough Stevens defense this second half.
You know, John, you wonder if maybe the experience of playing in this type of situation before didn't help Stevens. You know, they seem to be very comfortable with their offense. They made the defensive plays when they had to. I don't know. If I can change my mind, I'd have to think that the playoff experience really helped them today.
That may have been the difference, Jimmy. You see Marcus Borden talking with his team. Sure, there's disappointment, but boy, what a base they have to build on from here.
Yeah, they really do. I think Borden's primary job is to replace Hughes at quarterback. You know, you got Flanagan back as a receiver. You can always build the receiving core around him. You got Waringberg and who we think talking about Mike Baskowski in the backfield. You've got Bob Rushnick returning as a tight end. I think there are a number of players who are ready to do the job on the offensive and defensive line. There's no reason to think that East Brunswick cannot come back and have a very successful year.
Jimmy, while we have this moment and as we're looking at the team, I would like to just say a final goodbye from Channel 8 to the seniors on this team. Mike Curcio, Rick Calfian, Derek Rowe, Chris Siliberti, Steve Hughes, Eric Amkraut, Vinny Vitale, Glenn Pazinko, Tim King, Mark D'Arinzio, Brian Elkin, Andy Davis, Tony Pilato, Tom Herbst, Mike Steinberg, Greg Sikoleski, Andy Steinfeld, Seth Goldberg, Jeff Roberto, Sean O'Sullivan, Paul Lynch, Tony Ferrandino, Greg Hurley, and Bill Gumper. They were all outstanding athletes and provided us with a season we'll never forget for a long time. As you see the East Brunswick players walking off the field, I want to thank Jimmy for being with us this afternoon. It was a pleasure working with you this season, and we'll have to do it again next year.
I enjoyed it.
Well, that's it from J. Doyle Field. As I said, we hope you'll stay tuned. We're hoping to get into the locker room to talk with Marcus Borden and some of the players. If that is not possible, let me say at this point that we here at Channel 8 would like to thank all our viewers for their support and consideration over the past season. We hope to cover high school football again next year, as well as some of the other high school sports. It's been our pleasure to bring the game to you this afternoon and afternoons past, and we look forward to your continued support here on Channel 8. So for everyone associated with Channel 8, including Jimmy Allinder, this is John Meggiolaro. Have a good afternoon.